joining me today. I really appreciate your time and your kindness as well for joining me. So to start off with, do you want to just tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I'm a new author, if you like. So I'm an author of a book, Financial Freedom for Immigrants. Let me take this opportunity just to show you the cover of my book. There it is. Um, so yeah, that's been a recent project that I just completed late last year. And the book is all about helping new investors get onto the property ladder and how to build wealth and passive income through investing in property. So that's what the book is about. And last year and this year, my focus is mainly going to be on the book and how I can help through my knowledge and experience other new investors climb the property ladder.
Excellent. And so did you have experience of property investment, I'm guessing, before you wrote the book, right?
I did, yes. I started my property journey in 2009. So that was when I got my first residential property. So it's more than a decade now. But in terms of investment, I started about 6 years ago.
Cool. And so where are you at with that right now?
Let's say I've had more than one every year, more than one a year, starting about 6 years ago. So that's to give you some idea.
That's great. That's good. I love the mystery there. You're like not an exact number. Um
It's a little more than one a year.
okay, cool.
All
And
right, and
in terms of strategy,
uh,
are they all buy and hold or are some of them flips?
no, I haven't done any flips. I have done buy and hold, mainly buy and hold, but also BRR. I'm sure you're familiar with the BRR, so I've done that as well. So yeah, mainly these two. It's residential single lets mainly, and I'm just exploring towards HMO as well at the moment. But yeah, so single lets because I'm fairly new, if you like, but I've had a few experience buy and sell both of them, and that's where the book comes in.
Excellent. And you said that now you're looking into HMOs. So why moving from buy to let to HMO?
I think HMO has got more potential for higher cash flow. So single lets are pretty stable, a good steady income, but then HMO gives you more cash flow. So, I'm trying to increase the cash flow at the same time, get more experience on a different side of investment, just not just one. As you grow, I'm sure, at one point, probably, hopefully, I want to be a developer, so you slowly climb the ladder of the property investment.
Exactly. And I think you're very wise to do the same thing for a while before you change to something else. I
Yeah.
think something that happens to a lot of property newbies is that
Uh,
there are so many different things you could do that it's hard to pick one. But I'm a true believer that if you do something a lot, then you'll become really, really good at that thing rather than being okay at lots of things.
yeah,
Um,
no, I agree.
and so, what inspired you really to write your book then?
Sure. Now, firstly, I take you back to when I was about 10 to 12 years old. I think that's when I got the first exposure towards book. That was through my dad. So what he said to me, it was during a holiday, and he said to me, "I'm writing a book," and I was pretty good at art at that time, and so obviously he needed some art, pictures in his book, and he said, "If you could do some arts in my book, I'll put that in the book as long as it's good, and then with that, I'll buy you a bicycle." He said to me. Right, so
Nice.
that's how I got my first bike, and that's been a sort of an inspiration, within me. How what you do, then you will get the fruit of what you do. So that was my first sort of a deeper sort of a connection with the book. But of course, as you grow up, other things comes up, and you forget about that. And at some point, again, you go back to childhood, and then you start thinking and linking all those things, And I think so. I would like to give my credit to my dad for that first exposure, and and I'm always sort of trying to learn new things, and whenever I have some time, I look for seminars, workshops and stuff like that. So I went to a workshop. I don't want to mention the name of the company now, but went to the workshop and I was really, really impressed, really impressed on why you should write a book, because, this is one way how you can convey your message, how you can help other people, and the book's going to stay in this world even when you leave the world.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean, so that's going to stay with my family, with my kids, and I think it's a matter of pride and what you can share with the rest of the world. So that was quite a valuable message for me. And I thought, I'm not an expert on anything, but then whatever I've learned, those people who've written the book, they are not expert either, but they share what they've learned so far. So in my book, you're not going to get everything, but you will get what I've learned, so far.
Yeah, I get that. I like the story about your dad teaching you that lesson that if you basically you worked for him, and that's how you earned
Yep.
your bike, right? You earned your wages.
Exactly.
And that was used by bike. I think that's really good because I work with kids all the time, and sometimes it feels like that's totally missing from a lot of kids. They don't really feel like they have to work for anything. They just get given things.
Mm.
And I believe it's a very good lesson in life to learn that you have to work for things.
That's right. Yeah, no,
In terms of your book, you said that your dad asked you to draw the pictures. So are you also an artist?
I am.
You are.
I think I would rather say I was. I
Okay.
did. I do have some paintings actually. I haven't got right here, but I think some of them are in the computer and stuff like that. But yes, there are some really good paintings. When I look at them now, I'm quite impressed that, oh wow, if I had continued that, maybe I would have been a professional artist. But obviously, life is unpredictable. So there you are.
That's cool because as we were talking before this, I wouldn't say I was an artist, but yes, I do produce art myself. And I don't know about you, but I always thought, oh, I would love to sell some art, but I never took that route really. I never got there.
Yeah, no, but I did sell mine though. I did sell mine.
That's good. Go on, tell us about that. Tell us.
Yeah, no, it wasn't an intentional, sale. It was something one of my boss when I was about 20 years ago. So he really liked the picture, and he said, if I'll have it and I'll give you the money, and that was it. So I said I'll take it, and yeah, so that was my sort of, I wouldn't say I sold it, but I got something out of my art. So that was the second one. First from my dad, and second one from my boss.
Well, yeah, I guess that does actually make you an artist. You've sold 2 lots of artwork. That counts.
Thank you.
In terms of writing a book, so people that watch this, they might be interested in property, but they may also have been just interested in making money from other revenues, which
Mhm.
obviously writing a book is one of those options. What what's that kind of like writing a book? Is it a lot of sitting by yourself at the computer and just writing, or is there a lot of collaboration with other people? How does it go?
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's a great question there, actually. I was going to talk about it even if you didn't ask me. Uh, um, the biggest challenge I thought, when writing this book is knowing when to stop. That is the biggest challenge for me. And I think it's the same with a lot of other writers as well, because there's so many things, like what I put in the book here is not even 5% of what I could write here. But then you can't just keep on writing and writing. It's going to become a 1,000-page book, which is not going to be no use. So when thinking about the book, you want to be thinking about who's going to read it, and you want a book that people can read at least within a week. Otherwise, it just people will leave it. There are lots of books I've got down here which I haven't actually finished reading.
I've got plenty of books like that. Yeah.
There you go. So I didn't want it, to become like that. So I'd rather have many books of small sizes where you cover a particular topic rather than one book of big size, So that was the biggest challenge. And it's not always sitting in the computer and just doing your research and typing, there's lots of, sometimes when you're talking to a friend, I might have just spoken to you after finishing this interview, I might just contemplate about things that we talked about and, oh, that was a good point that we talked about. And then I'll make a little note about that. And then I would then also put like, in which topic or subheadings will I put about that thing? So, and then you make a little notes and connections and things like that. And if you're not sure, 100% sure about exactly how to put that, and you do a bit more research, and so that's how you come up with contents. So these are your raw materials. And then finally, when you think you've done, and then it goes to editing and formatting, and all of that. It's quite a lengthy process though. It took me almost a year, a little less than a year, but yeah, it's a lengthy process, depending on how much you want to cover.
And I don't know if you mind talking about the money aspect of writing a book. If you don't want to talk about it, you don't have to. But does it cost a lot of money to produce a book in order to sell it? Or are there ways that, is it like a print on demand service? I don't know how it works. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, a lot of people actually, they do the Amazon self-publishing. There isn't too much. It's not too expensive, and like you said, it is print on demand. So Amazon's got that service, so it makes it lot very much easier. But then before you can do that, you do have to do a lot of homework. All the book covers, book counting and all that, so that's done by the professionals, unless you know everything. So I used someone else to help me with that. So it was a bit easier. But yeah, so that's how it is. Not too costly, I guess. How expensive depends on your lifestyle and your earnings. Like if for someone who's earning, whose annual salary is 200K, £2,000 might be nothing. But then for someone who's earning an average money, £2,000 is a lot of money. You know what I mean? So yeah, I haven't got the right answer on that, I'm afraid.
No, that's fine. Is £2,000 the realistic number, or was that a made up number?
That's a made up number.
Oh, okay, cool. All right.
Made up number, but yeah, I mean, it could range anywhere between 1,000 to 2,000.
Okay, that's good to know. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because myself, I'm dyslexic, so writing is not my forte. However, I do have a lot that I want to tell people, so I would consider writing a book. It might have more pictures than text. I'm not sure.
Yeah. No, I think it is really good. Writing a book, gives you, it's a self-satisfaction, and also it exposes your potential to other clients. Somebody might have seen you, Facebook a long time ago, but then now because you've got the book, this person probably is more likely to contact you and ask about your services than where before, when he had just seen you as a person. But now you are an author, you got a book, you got a product, and you suddenly become more attractive. You start attracting clients and people around you. So that's what I've actually noticed since I published my book.
Excellent. That's good to know as well. And so your book is to help immigrants invest in property. So why did you choose to go down that route to write your book about them?
You know what? That question, pretty much everybody's asking you that question. That's like the favorite question.
Another question.
Yeah. No. So basically, I had to choose a topic that I have the experience on, that I have the knowledge on. So I'm a fairly new immigrant, so I haven't been here for too long. I'm a British citizen, but I've got that experience of becoming an immigrant, coming into the country as an immigrant, and building that, having your first property, and building your portfolio, writing the book, So I just felt like I have a little bit of a journey there, which I could actually share it with other new immigrants, those who want to become more successful in life, because sometimes when you come to a new place, new country, it takes a little while to understand the whole system, how things are happening, until, I spent probably about 3 to 5 years trying to figure out how everything works around me. So if that can be given to that person early, you could actually have, you could have your goal 2 to 3 years earlier than if you were given nothing.
Yeah.
And you would have to, you would have to understand and know by yourself, which can be quite time consuming, So that's where I actually saw I could actually help, or the book could, be of more assistance. So yeah, that's the main reason for choosing the immigrant. However, However, I've already got comments and feedback that the book is not only for the immigrants, because obviously, you know, it's about property investment as well. So the book has got actually two parts. The first part is about getting into your residential property, and the second part is about building your portfolio. So I guess, you know, the first part is more relevant for first-time buyers and immigrant, whereas the second part can be for any new investors, you know, wannabe investors, so anyone. So yeah, I haven't got, you know, the absolute this is the reason, but that was the best, you know, topic that I could come across where I could resonate, you know.
No, that's good. And I know that uh, to be niche can be good sometimes, because if you try to reach everybody, you might not reach anybody. So to target immigrants, you've at least got your first protocol clientele, right? So
Yeah.
that's good, I think. That probably helps a lot with the marketing. um, what about, you mentioned that you'd love to have like a series of small books. So have you
Mhm.
already thought about or started on another book?
I have thought about it. Now, just like, you know, the world, the last 2 3 years, I've just noticed that the world is changing so quickly, you know. Whereas before, oh, you know, 5 years ago this happened, but now it's like last year this happened. Next year, completely opposite's going to happen. You know, like things are changing around us so rapidly, and I feel like property will also change with that. You know, how we deal with properties, what kind of properties people will be looking for, and things like that. So my next target is property investment for the future generation, just like this one is for the, you know, immigrants. So I'm aiming for property investment for the future generation, how things are going to change in the sector of property, what kind of property people will be building, you know, and what kind of property my grandchildren's will be preferring, that sort of thing. And you know, so that sort of futuristic approach to property, that's what I'm looking at.
That's really good. And so I don't know how much you know, but I work with kids, and
Mm.
my goal is to build a property school for kids. And part of that is about educating them on how to acquire their first property to live in, but also to invest in property, because I think it's something at school that they don't really teach you, and that's something that I want them to know about.
Mm.
Because obviously it can be quite lucrative. It can be your whole career. And yeah, there are so many young people that have no idea what a mortgage is at all.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, maybe we could talk about that at a later date on how we could educate young people on how they
Yeah,
can
no,
do that. That would be good.
I'll be more than happy to come and share with your students, you know, what I know. No problem at all.
Fantastic. So
You mentioned, sorry to cut you there, but you mentioned that a lot of young people, they don't know what is mortgage is. But I've spoken to a lot of colleagues, you know, and friends, and these are adults. Even adults, they don't know what mortgage is.
yeah, that's true.
Heard about the mortgage, they've heard about what, you know, the term word mortgage, but you know, sometimes you think like this person should know more,
Mm.
you know, with their age and experience. But sometimes I do get surprised as well.
Yeah, yeah, totally. There's so many people that don't know. And I think budgeting in general, there
Mhm.
are, I know plenty of people that have no idea how to budget. And some of that, a lot, I know a lot of people also that are like on benefits and stuff, and their money doesn't come like once a month like my money does. Their money comes like week on week, and it's a bit different on different weeks. And for them to actually understand when money comes in and when money comes out
Mhm.
is really difficult for some people, and they never, even as grown adults, some people can't handle it. They can't work out,
Mhm.
they can't buy this until that money comes in, you know.
Yeah, yeah, no, no, absolutely. You know, as you mentioned, you know, I feel like if you get in the, you know, money monthly, I think you can manage better if you get in the month, you know, monthly income rather than the weekly. Because if you think about, you know, a lot of bills, you know, these are monthly bills, they're
Yeah,
not weekly bills. So you know, maybe that's one way of, you know, looking at things. You know, if the earnings can be on a monthly basis rather than a weekly basis, and that might help a bit more on the money management. So,
yeah, definitely. I think that's actually something the government really need to think about, because they're normally the people that do things more on a weekly basis, whereas monthly I
Yeah.
think would be much more beneficial. Because they'll
Mm,
have to pay the rent probably monthly. So
exactly.
yeah,
And then your insurance, all these are monthly, isn't it? Your utility bills,
yeah, exactly.
council. Yeah.
Um, yeah, so yeah, budgeting I just think is something that I really want to instill in young people, that they understand how to do that. And we were talking about mortgages, but even opening a bank account, they're like, they don't, they see cash in hand a lot, and they don't understand. Oh,
Yeah.
go to the bank, open a bank account. They're like, why would you do that?
Mm, mm. Yeah. Yeah.
So
No,
yeah,
definitely. It
it,
seems like, those kids do need help.
yeah, definitely, and like you said, adults too.
Yeah.
So have you got kids?
I do. I've got two lovely kids. Yes.
Yeah. How old are they? Is that too personal? How old?
No, no, no. One's 10 years, one's 5 years, five
Oh,
and a half. So yeah, both boys, and they're good boys.
how are they getting on with being? Are they working from home at the moment? Is the school closed?
Yeah, school's closed, so they're learning from home. Yeah.
And that can be a, because I'm teaching online and on site, and that can be
Yeah.
quite a struggle for some young people. How are your kids coping?
Yeah, in the beginning, it was a bit of, because you got to keep on reminding. So my elder son, so he remembers to wake up, to have his little breakfast. He does it himself, so that's really good. I'm really proud of him. And so yeah, so he does everything himself, and then he goes to online class on time, so I don't have to remind him anymore. But the little one, of course, he's only 5 and a half, so he needs a lot of reminder. To be honest, and today he missed it. But it only goes on for 25 minutes, half an hour. So yeah, but yeah, they're getting on all right. They don't refuse it, or it's just a reminder. As long as you remind them, oh, your class, and they go on, they log in themselves. That's all right.
That's good. How do you think what's currently going on with the pandemic? How do you think that might affect young people and what careers they might be looking at for the future and stuff?
Amazing question. That's a really good question, actually. And I think this is where I was talking about earlier, how the world and things around us are changing so rapidly. So I think like the experience the young people have had, or they're experiencing right now, that the things that you experience when you're young actually stays with you, and that means a lot for that person when they grow up, because that's what they've experienced as a childhood. And I feel like a lot of people is going to go towards IT related, like working from home. Like my boy, he's into gaming, and he's already starting making little games in the computer, you see, because for this you don't have to go to on site to work, and he's getting into it, he's enjoying that. And gaming's got a big future. A lot of people gaming, even adults, they're into gamings and stuff like that. So I think people are, these young people, they would more go into this programming and gaming, that sort of virtual reality. That's what I think, really.
Yeah, I think we were heading that way anyway, but then
Yeah,
COVID put a bit of a speed
more
up
pressure.
because everyone's at home now.
Yeah.
A lot of kids or even adults, they go on YouTube and they learn new things that they never would have had the time or thought of doing before. But now people are
Yeah.
learning for themselves. So I think that's brilliant.
Even meetings like this, like where we do, Zoom meetings, whereas before we would rather, trying to meet up in
Mm.
person. And I've had so many Zoom meetings, and there was one course I was just trying to take. It was about public speaking and all that. And the whole course is actually on a Zoom, because you can't go on site on a theater or a stage to do this, the public speaking and all that bits, the whole training. So even that is happening online. I don't know how it's happening, but I think people talking on a screen like this I feel like it's quite different from talking to hundreds of people in front of you, although there might be 100 people watching on screen, and when you're physically there, I think it makes a big difference. But I guess that's where the world is moving.
Mm. Is public speaking something that you have done before or you would like to do?
No, that's something that I would like to do, and that's one of my weaknesses. And as I was taking this introductory class, The statistics apparently says that people are more afraid of public speaking than the death itself. Um,
That's funny.
I know a bit of exaggeration there, but yeah. So so public speaking, I feel like I've got my book and I've got a message to convey, and I want people to get the message from my book. And at some point, if not now, when the world opens up, I will have to use that opportunity to present it to more larger audience. And for that, I don't want to be like a cartoon, so I need a bit of a refining. So this is where I was just looking at, to be able to present my ideas and what I've got to a larger audience.
Cool, excellent. So if you had to give one, you said about the message of your book. So if you had to give our audience that one big message from your book, without giving it all away, obviously, because you want to
Yeah,
book, what is that message that you'd like to give out to people?
good question there. Now, because my book is targeted to immigrants, a lot of the immigrants who come from developing countries do not have great understanding about credit rating, or the credit score, because that is your credibility, isn't it? A lot of things, that all your mortgages, all your loans, lots of things happens on credit. And what the lenders will look at is your score, credit score. And for immigrants who come from, developing countries, this is something that they will start understanding a bit later on. So I think understanding credit score, how to improve your credit ratings is very important. And for those, if there are any immigrants watching this, I would say start looking at your credit score and how to build that credit score as early as you can.
I think that's a brilliant message, and not only to immigrants, but there are a lot of people in general that just don't understand about credit score and how to improve your credit score. So I think that was a brilliant last message. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shona. Thank you.
Excellent. Well, I think unless you want to say anything else in particular, or do you want to?
Oh, no, I think that's a great first chat we had, Shona. I enjoyed that. Thank you for putting me on your show. Yeah, so hopefully, we'll do something similar, or maybe with your kids,
Yeah, no, that would be great.
anything to do with education, I'm more than happy to help you there.
Excellent. All right then. Well, thank you so much. And this will get posted in about 2 weeks' time when they see when when it's on.
Okay.
Yeah, I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shona. Thanks a lot. Have a good evening.
You too. Bye.
Bye now. Bye.